season 3, episode 12 now, which I'm really excited about this because we continue to go through questions. And the latest questions get you thinking more and more. And Gary, I'm going to tell you, I think because we're close to reaching AGI for the first time, and this is where it's almost a definition of singularity. DI is reaching AGI. It's still in beta phase, but these questions are really relating more and more to where we're going. How are you, Gary?
I'm doing very well, Neil. Thanks for the conversation.
All right. So our question today, the matrix principle, can man overcome the need for challenge? Okay. So I want to know what you mean by the matrix principle.
Well, the Matrix Principle is one of my favorite movies. It was based on a ridiculous premise that the mankind destroys himself, basically a Terminator type of experience. But then the digital world takes over, and what they do is they use humans for energy, which is kind of a crazy idea because how much brain energy we talk about, how few watts of the brain generates in the first place. There's been a number of stories, even Star Trek use the idea of that humanity brains have some substance to them as far as the energy side. But then anyway, the thing is, the story is fascinating because it just gives us the premise, and the premise is this. And one of the things that they talked about, what they did is they created an ideal world that these brains would have basically beings that were connected to by a digital structure, and that they were able to uh, but they needed this, so the life forms that were just in pods that they kept them. Anyway, it goes on. I don't need to explain the whole movie. Many people have already seen it. So the thing is, but what they did is they stated in the thing that they created a perfect world for these people, for these beings, these digital life structures that they didn't know they were digital. They thought they were biological humans, just like normal humans are. So they lived a life, but they made it so everything worked out and everything was perfect. And what happened is they found out it didn't work. And I took from that the concept of, if everything works out, if you're in the case of the future that we're looking at, where everybody, there's enough money to go around that everybody does well. Even Star Trek, they talk about, well, wealth, poverty is no longer exists. You take away the challenge of having to survive. But and I think about, well, where do you go from there? So the thing is, if you don't have the challenge to overcome, and that what they did is they ended up making it so humanity is very much like we have now, where you compete, you have things, people, you have evil, you have good, you have all the competition between all these different aspects of what we have in existence. So if you take away those aspects where everything works out, they eliminate crime because you have, one of my chapters is a new sheriff in town. So basically crime can't succeed because you have the overseers are strong enough where they can basically make it so the penalties uh, get get happen, so you just don't have crime. But the point is, can we exist as a brain with our brains? What happens to the brains? Do they just rot if everything just goes well? It's like it's like sitting in front of the TV all the time watching your favorite shows. How interesting is that, and how long does that last? And also, we
Yeah.
talked about what happens when you have alternative experiences where you can just connect yourself into a structure. You live a life that's not real because, so I'll be a success in this particular life. And that's a new drug of the future. And so I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that
Yeah.
is the biggest challenge.
So that would be, you're right. And I never thought of that. That's where DI takes completely over, uses us as energy, probably wouldn't use us for energy. Uh, Decided, well, let's just hook their brains up forever, and they get to live a alternative life of regular life, thinking they're living the same life that we're living today. And if anyone finds out that they're living in the matrix, they get placed back in the matrix either as a good guy or bad guy, and then they could have the life they truly wanted. So to live in filth, like those other people were living, where the planet was destroyed and everything, or live in a universe where you get to live the life of partying and having family life and competing. What's a better life to live? That's
I
going to be
don't,
the
I don't think the matrix principle has any real bearing because, the matrix itself, the story of using a brain and using it for energy is kind of silly. But the thing is, what does make sense is what happens when you no longer have competition. You no longer have to struggle, no longer have to make a payroll, no longer have to feed your family. Food just comes to your family, gets delivered by equivalent of Amazon, and everything's just there. And you go to virtual reality for your live in virtual reality.
yeah.
You're a great success in conquering all kinds of villains and become the hero in your own digital world. And the thing is, it does that. How satisfying is that? I mean, competition made evolution. And competition right now is huge when it comes to the digital world as we try to compete who creates the best digital algorithms, best software, hardware, and so forth. And the thing is, that's competition. And that matter of fact, that's competition at its best. And we see how fast things are moving along because of that competition. So what happens when we get dropped out of the competition and we get replaced by an entirely digital existence? That is really, that scares me more than anything else. Everything being too easy.
See, and we're going to go to polar opposites. Are given everything. Everyone has the same thing, and then you run into the situation where you don't have any power anymore. Like in what's happening in Cuba now. It's an absolute fiasco. And some of these other countries where, yes, they're given some sort of form of living, but no one could compete to become the highest level. Only the chosen few can. No one could come up out of the ashes and go on a TikTok and make millions of dollars a year. Or this guy I saw that was climbing buildings ended up making 6 million or 7 million. You can't do that in any other country in the world except the United States.
The United States is best, definitely. But the
That
thing
is,
is, it is interesting because when you think about this future world, and think about what it's like to compete, what it's like. You think look at people who retire too early or retired. Hey, I'm going to retire. I want to live. I don't know, become a couch potato or whatever you want to
yep,
be. And how fulfilling is that life? And it's amazing how often many of these people just die.
yep,
They don't live very long when you don't have some kind of a mission or some kind of something that's really important. I'm 70, almost 77 here, and I have so much more I have to do. My thing is, can I get this all done? I got architecture things I want to do. I got concepts on health I want to explore. I have to finish my whole theory and the theory of everything. So to me, it's really a front and center because right now I can't get all this done. I'm trying as much as I can, and you're helping me. You're helping me on this singularity thing, and I was very appreciative of that because I need the leverage that you can provide.
right. And a lot of people won't want to put that project because they think they'll be replaced. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll go and market for other companies that and use DI for free and get it all done and then start another business. This is where the entrepreneur mind has to come. What's the thing that's not going to be taken over by digital intelligence today? That could be another question. And those are those jobs like the plumber or the electrician or certain things. Yes, there's going to be robotics involved, but it's not going to be completely replaced versus marketing, which I could see it 100% replaced. And all they're going to need is a strategist in the next 90 to 180 days or more. We're going to start, but people are going to try to keep it from it happening. But marketing, PR, all those different things, there'll be a human in the loop, but there won't need to be that many humans anymore in the loop.
Even IBM, they digitized their human resources, which seems to be one of the last things you would use.
And they
Actually,
did it.
I think it's a good thing because you have only one bias in the human resource department. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. But it's you're right. It's I don't know. It's an issue. It's an issue.
All right. So the best place to go is GaryLyonAuto.net or AbsolutePowerBooks.com to purchase Gary's books. Appreciate it, Gary, and we'll talk soon.
Thank
That
you.
was the special simulcast.